Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, are we ready?
Ready. We're ready to rock.
Testing 1 2. Hello, 1 2. Is this working? Do you hear
Mine
me?
is.
Do you hear
I
me?
heard it. I
Okay.
heard it. It's Monday.
Are we on the air yet?
Yes, we are.
Uh-oh.
We're
Sorry,
on the
folks.
air.
Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And good morning. I'm Lee Barrels.
It is a chilly Monday, but not as cold as it was Friday.
It's nice.
It's 50 degrees outside the studio here right now.
Well, wasn't it cold this weekend?
No, it was frigid this weekend.
It was beyond cold.
Way to Havelock, it was cold and got colder and then got coldest.
I feel for you. First of all, I feel like a bad fan because I had to cancel at the last.
You could have taken the doggy with you.
And I know some of the messages we got from you were like, yeah, he's frozen.
I was cold. It was hard to type.
Yes.
And then I have to take my hands out of my glove.
Yes,
to type any kind. That way, therefore, I got very cryptic messages like 2821. You figure it out.
Yes, yeah. Well, I was listening and we kept texting each other with the score. You were there. I was listening, so it's not like we didn't know, but we were so excited.
Mm-hmm. It was a very exciting game. The Cardinals came out on top at the end, 56-28, but that's not the story. The story was the game.
Yes.
Wow,
what a
moly.
game.
We are your Cardinals, your mighty, mighty Cardinals.
That's
and
right.
We're here looking mighty fine, and we're gonna take on them Rams.
Yeah,
and we did.
Forward ever, backwards never.
Some mighty fine guys showed what they're made of when they traveled over to Havelock for the fourth round of the 2024 playoffs. That was Friday night. The Havelock Rams may have entered their home turf feeling pretty good and pretty confident. After all, they're the only team to beat the Cardinals during regular season play this year. Opening kickoff, not far from Havelock's goal line is where the ball ended up. Well, didn't end up there, stay there very long. The Rams grappled with, then dropped. Why do you try to catch a football on a kickoff when you're just a few yards from the goal line? Because if it goes into the end zone, you can bring it out to the 20.
Right.
There's always the chance you're going to drop it or you're going to lose it. There's always that possibility. Well, they lost it.
Yes, they did.
And one of the guys in red, he picked it up and stepped across the goal line, and there were 6 points. And a second or two later, the clock not running during the point after, it was 7-0.
Well, you know,
time on the clock at that point in time, 11 minutes and 55 seconds left. And
when you're sitting there and you're drinking your
like,
first sip of coffee, and they do that, and you spit it out like, what? And I was like, oh my God. And you kept texting back, da, 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 da. And we were, oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you listen to the show regularly, you know my wife's name is Robbie. So Robbie and I sat in the stands because Lee she had an adoption. Got a four-legged one this time.
So cute.
And he brought him home, and I guess he was a little skittish.
He was very, very scared. And I didn't want to just crate him and leave him.
Yeah, but you couldn't do that anyway because you couldn't catch him. You sent me messages.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was hiding from you.
He'd finally come out of his crate that afternoon. And he went directly behind a chair, then under a piece of furniture. And that's where he stayed about 1 a.m. when I finally got him out. So he's so cute.
So Robbie and I were up in the stands, obviously on the visitor side. They don't have as many visitors bleachers anywhere that I know of. But
they were packed.
We filled up these stands.
Yes.
The folks from Jacksonville, those are the ones that deserve a big round of applause. And we applauded ourselves, and we applauded the Cardinals. And we jumped up and down, up and down, up and down. And it was fine. It was a fine evening. It's rewarding to find the visitors' bleachers full when you're the visitor.
Yes.
And I could not understand playoffs, fourth round, Havelock should win, according to the way Havelock thought. And the way the odds makers were giving it, Havelock should have won, but Havelock, they didn't come prepared with the fork and knives to eat Redbirds. I can tell you that.
Jacksonville beat them down.
But we were watching it, and it had all these people around us. Fan spirits, what I call, cheering on every play, clapping, stomping our feet, shouting for our beloved Redbirds. A second TD was added.
Yes.
In Jacksonville, up by 14. Rams managed to score two TDs, missing the extra point right after that during the first half. So, but they for the second go round, they missed the first extra point, the first additional touchdown, which gave them 21. Gave them 20 to our 14, I think. Anyway, they were up.
They were up by a touchdown.
But then
I was like,
we got another TD. We got up to 21, and they were trailing. And then they got a TD, and they went after 2 points, and they ended up with 28. 28-21 going into the locker room, and it was cold out there. Temperature on the field was 23 degrees.
Yes, it was. I kept checking the weather where you were at, and I'm like, whew.
Well, a lot of us got kind of solemn during that break, during the time for them to run to the locker rooms.
I really thought we were done for then.
I didn't think we were done for. I just said it's going to be a hard-fought second half, but it wasn't. No. A lot of strategizing going on among those of us in the cold bleachers. We had it worked out. We knew what we should have been doing.
Right.
We were quarterbacks. I mean, we were the coaches.
Yes.
We knew what those coaches should have been doing. I don't know what they did, but they did it right back in the locker room. Our strategy was, me and the fans around me, we were all talking. We figured every way we could beat them coming back. Keep the Rams in check was number one. Don't let them score any more points. Check. We did that.
Our defense was awesome.
Pick up a couple touchdowns, and therefore we would win. We did a whole lot more than that.
Yes. I was just sitting there going like,
we tied them. We tied them, and then after that, it was one and done. We liked what we were saying, but we were a little concerned. Everyone except my wife, Robbie.
She's always the
like
activist.
Me, a JHS graduate from the 1960s. She calmly told me it was okay that the universe was on our side that evening. She believes in that. She says it a lot.
And then when she says it, I believe it.
And everything would be all right at the end of the game. Well, the rest of us were biting our nails as the Cards took to the field. Within a minute or two, those guys caused some of us to almost lose our voices. 4 minutes, 3 touchdowns in the second half. The Rams were at this time one and done. Mattered not what they did for the total 24 minutes of the second half. They got nowhere. The wind had been taken out of their sails like you've never seen before. In the closing couple minutes, the Cards leading 56-28 with the ball heading for the goal line. Nobody to stop the runner. Nobody there in his way. But he took a dive close to the goal line. First and short for another TD. That's what it was.
Right.
You would have thought they may get up and go in for another 7 points, 6 points running. No, didn't do that. They grounded the ball on all 4 of their downs. They turned it over on downs to the Rams. Less than 2 minutes to play at that time. But the Rams, a powerful team, don't get me wrong, a very powerful team, and they were scoring on their short passes, 10, 15-yard passes, bullet passes. My God, how you would even see that thing coming. Mm-hmm. But they could not make any headway. They made a few first downs during that second half, but not much. But during the last couple of minutes, nothing. They went nowhere. Nowhere.
And they were close to making another touchdown, but Jacksonville
held
them back.
We held several times.
I mean, you're on the 10-yard line, less than 10-yard line, and you've got the ball, and you've got first down.
First and goal to go is somewhere inside the 10-yard line, first and goal, and they just couldn't do it. Just flat could not get it up
that
and get it moving.
Cardinals were sitting on their backs.
Cardinals heading for Fayetteville this Friday to take on 71st High School in round number 5 for the regional title. There are 6 rounds.
This is for the East Regional title.
Eastern Regional.
And then whoever wins from the East will play the one that wins from the West for the state championship, the 3A championship. So, 2 more to go.
Here's hoping that all y'all, you folks out there, you fans, whether you're went to the Jacksonville High, whether you ever went there, whether your kids did, your grandkids, or whoever did, there's something about team spirit, and when you get the fans, when you get the fans involved in it, it makes a Friday night so much better than sitting at home in the comfort of your home. It's good to be up there. Of course, we had our heated seats. We had taken those with us. The stadium
I've been bought
seats.
an extra battery. I was ready to go. I had 2 batteries charged up.
You wouldn't have needed it. We had 3. We had 2 the batteries that came with it. Then I had the larger capacity battery.
Right.
But we didn't even get through any of that. So we
Well,
didn't
I
even
think
need
the
them during
first
most of
night,
the first half.
yeah, I think the first night that we used them, I had the back and the seat on high, so that's why mine ended a little bit before the game was over.
Well, turn yours on.
I learned there's no need for the back because you can't feel it because with all the clothes you're wearing.
Pretty much. Turn yours on sometime and run the battery down completely.
Yeah, I've already done that.
And then we'll do it again.
Okay.
And then charge it up fully. Do your big battery that way. I'm kind of curious. You got 2 big batteries, right?
2 big batteries. I got the 5 volts.
Take one of them and then put it in and put it on both the seat and back.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'll have to make sure that does yours have a timer on it?
No.
Okay, mine's got a timer on it. It will go up to 60 minutes and then you have to reset it.
Oh.
So
mine says 3 different heat levels too.
This one's got 3 different heat levels, but put it on high and let it run until it runs down again. Make a note of how long it took.
Right.
And then you'll get an idea of how long you can keep it on one battery.
I do want to say, going back to the ball game, how dare Havelock, how dare them play our fight song? Was that a psychological trick?
No, I think it's not the only. Obviously the words we
never
couldn't hear.
Heard them play it before.
Well, I've never heard them play anything before.
But and see, when the fight song kept playing, I thought it was our side playing. I thought it was our band until you said it was Havelock. I think they did it. I think it was a psychological thing.
It could have been.
They were messing with us.
Well, it didn't work.
They were Havelock. Pick another fight song.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get too grouchy about Friday, but it was a bit of an irritant.
Oh yeah,
it had nothing to do with
you going through
with the Rams
gates.
or anything else. So I got up there, and of course, got to the school, and
we were.
And then we had the advance notice, no bags. Couldn't take a bag in. Couldn't take any food or beverage in. Basically, get naked and come on down. Enjoy the game.
So do tell what happened.
So I got up to the gate. We stopped before we got to the gate because a guy in the parking lot told me and told Robbie she had her little clear bag with nothing in it except, her paperwork and everything else. So she could carry that instead of cramming things in her pocket.
That's why we got those.
That's why women carry purses, right?
That's why we got the clear bags.
That way she can keep her phone in there.
That's right.
Nope.
They wouldn't let her take that?
No, he told her right out front. He said, I don't want you to get all the way up there and stand in line, find out you got to go back to the car to dump this thing. So she went back to the car and dumped her bag.
Oh.
I said, I got a camera in mind. I'm photographing for the web.
Mm-hmm.
We do a radio show. He said, it doesn't matter. They're not going to let your bag in. I get in line. I get all my credentials out, ID and everything else, and I get up to it. And there's a deputy over there. Let me tell you about the Craven County deputies. They had a herd of them over there.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
I don't know what they were anticipating, but they were the ones doing the actual checking at the gate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened?
So I walked over to the one deputy who had a dog. It was the first deputy with a dog. Then there was a second deputy about 15 feet away with a dog. This is at the line going in.
Wow.
So I walked straight over to him and I said, I like you, Sheriff. I've met him a couple of times. Oh, yeah, he's a nice guy, yada, yada, yada. And I said, his number 2 guy, his chief. Mm-hmm. He said, yeah. I said, he and I did quite a bit of work together back in the 70s when he was SP.
Yeah, throw a little bit of that out there.
I did photo work. He said, and I said, now they tell me I may have a problem getting this camera bag in there loaded with my camera. I'll carry 2 lenses and a strobe and extra batteries. He said, I understand. Your media. He said, yep. And he said, just tell them, show them, do what you got to do. I did. Got up there and they said, well, okay, let's go through this bag. Well, they went through it and my wallet came apart. Stuff dropped out on the ground everywhere else.
Oh, I would have been so aggravated.
Well, the deputies were like, oh, God, because I'm
I've been
holding up the line.
cussing.
I said, well, wait, we shouldn't have had to go through this. But I did. I went through it. Not a problem. Got through it, picked up all my mess. I think I got all my stuff back.
Wow.
But everything was scattered throughout the bag. And
well, look, expect next week at Fayetteville 71st, there'll probably be prison guards out there.
I could have been one. I could have been one of the prisoners there.
It was kind of a rough
But anyway,
place.
those deputies were extremely polite. Every one of them, those were very efficient going through the line.
Good.
Of course, I got through, and after I got through, I dumped all this stuff, and I walked through the line. I said, prepare to wand me. He said, why? I said, that knee. He said, oh, step through it. He said, yeah. Come on down. Here we go. He wanted every part of my body, and
It's
that's
soon
the
going to
only
be
place,
me.
only place he found any metal. That's just the way it is. So, well, it is what it is. So I got on through, got up there, and unfortunately, this is something that all teams should consider. The visitors.
Right.
The concession stand was way a lot further away than Jacksonville is from the bleachers, from the visitors, but it was on beyond belief.
Yeah.
And when you get to be certain going up and down bleacher steps anyway, you like to make one trip up there. That's the reason I like to carry whatever I'm going to carry. That's going to be it. So we got up there. The reason I don't have to make a head call while I'm there either, because I don't want that. That's too much trouble.
Yes.
Time I get there, it's too late. And the bleachers were packed underneath. People were walking and coming and going. I know that because I used to have a cane that I walked up the steps with.
Right.
And I laid it down there, and somehow it got kicked down and went below. So during the first half, during the halftime, I went on down there, looked for it. It was wide open, but people were walking through like it was a thoroughfare. So I'm sure somebody picked it up.
Wow.
I would have, but nobody turned it into the gate.
Of course not.
And I've got several more. Just have to make sure I carry it and put a strap around it.
Well, you're talking about concession stands. I remember back in the day when White Oak built their field, they had the big concession stand, of course, on their side, but they also had a smaller building on the visitors' side where you could go right there and buy concessions too. I don't think they have that open anymore. I didn't notice it at the game we went to, but or at least have somebody with a cart or something, go around with some bags of popcorn or something. But you're right, though.
They don't have a lot of people. And then the other thing, though, is on a cold night, I like to take hot chocolate.
Yeah, well, we all know that, didn't
hot chocolate and sometimes soup.
Right.
But they warned us, so I didn't bother to carry it.
Well, each school has their rules.
I don't know whether that's all the time or whether this
I'm going to check out Fayetteville 71st today and let you know about that.
I'll make a phone call or something.
Yes, and our famous sports editor from the Daily News should be calling in about 5-10 minutes. So.
Okay, so we'll check with him too. But anyway, it was a great game. Forget all the other.
It was fantastic.
All the other trivia just went to the wayside. Fell by the wayside.
Man, I was decked out. I had my Cardinal knee-high socks on, my Cardinal shirt, my Cardinal hat. I was ready to rock.
You needed some woolen bloomers, I can tell you that.
I had taken on a new responsibility, and it would have been wrong of me to.
Yeah. He would not have liked going up
there. For those, we had Adoption First Rescue in here last week, and listening to the story and then watching it on Facebook unfold, they have captured over 30 small dogs that were dumped in the city, and they were precious. And so I went to go take a look and see what I could do to help, and ended up fostering a dog, which hopefully I can get in line to adopt him.
Yeah.
But he's just a small little thing. They say they think he's about a year old. I think he's a lot younger, though.
You'll have to bring him in here so we can.
Yes, once I get him settled in, I'll bring him in. He's so much fun.
Yeah.
But they managed to capture the rest of the I think there was 2 more dogs out there running, and they were able to trap them this weekend, so they've
Good.
got all those small dogs. Now, that's not counting what Onslow County Animal Shelter went and picked up over 30 from a place that were not being taken care of. So we have such an influx of little animals and big animals that need
If you're,
homes.
let's do a little warning here. If you, there's some organization, regardless of who it is, unless it's a
Right.
county-sponsored organization like the Onslow County, yada yada yada, double check
Their
the folks
status,
over there, because they may or may not be. I'm sure they're
Legit.
legitimate. They have every good intention in the world, but unfortunately, they don't necessarily have the capability of handling what they get delivered to them, and they will
Right.
not turn something away. I don't blame them. I would have a hard
Right.
time doing that too. But you don't want to take your doggy over if you need to get rid of your dog for whatever reason.
Right.
It sounds like a good plan to take it to one of these
Yes,
locations.
do
Any
it the
player
right
that
way.
would take it.
Right.
And perhaps the county shelters are overloaded, which
Yes,
they are,
they are
and
right
they can't
now.
take any more handouts like that.
Right.
So what are you going to do? Oh wow, my goodness gracious!
How can anybody just dump an animal there?
Well, they're going
How
to
can
be
they do
they're
it?
going to be relocated to another location.
I'll
It may
say-
be overseas, whatever.
My thought is, I
We went
heard
through that here from somebody, and that's the reason we have a puppy out there. Not a puppy, but a
Well,
doggy.
they ought to take whoever the owner was, strip them naked, throw them out in the backyard, and tie them to the fence, and let them spend the night out there in the cold.
Well, it's cold, and I
Feed them
don't.
bones.
But we need to. They need to make sure you give that dog to somebody an
Right.
organization who can take care of it.
Who
If
can
you-
take them in
and
properly.
go there and take a quick look. See, can I take a look? If they don't
Right.
want you to go back there and take a look, then go find somewhere else.
Well, I was very impressed with this nonprofit that came on our show, and they're going to be a regular guest once a month. But I went in there and took another tour. I had taken one before, but I got to see much more this time.
Good.
But they have a clinic in there. Every single animal they bring in goes through the clinic.
That's good.
And they do a lot of things. And they solely operate on fundraisers and donations.
Yeah.
It's very impressive what they have there.
Now, if you're there again, there may be an organization or two out there
Right.
only for profit. And that's what they're doing, is they're not putting their money back into the operation.
Right.
You need to ask questions. You need
Right.
to see
Vet-
what the facilities
vet
look
them.
like. You really need to take a look-see.
Right.
And then you can also ask Onslow County.
Exactly.
about it.
Get references. Anybody can open up a nonprofit.
Yeah, but
It's what you do and what you make out of it.
Where's
That's
the money?
important.
Who's
That's
got
right.
the money? What you doing with the money? Okay.
That's right. Wow.
Sometimes they cook the books. That's the way that goes.
Sometimes, yes, they do. There is our sports editor, Chris Miller. Can't wait to hear.
All I want to know was Chris is cold down on the. I didn't even see anything. I saw a couple of bear-looking creatures down there.
It might have
They
been.
had, so much clothes on. I couldn't even identify them. Was that one of? Hey, Chris, how are you? Was that you?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah. One of those was me. I was one wearing the orange toboggan. I think that's the first time I've ever had to wear a hat, a toboggan at a high school football game, just because it was so cold. And, no, it was really cold, but it was it wasn't a great atmosphere Friday night.
Oh my God! The fans over where we were, we had our pack going. We had a pack up there in the bleachers, and we were all like, "Wow!" And a couple of pictures I shot showed how crowded those bleachers were. Which is normally, visitors when you go to a team away game or something like that, unless this happens to be across town. It's like, okay, there's a whole lot of room here left. I could lay down and take a nap, but not this time. If you lay down and take a nap, you'd be laying down in somebody's lap.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got there. The game started at 7. I got there probably around 5:45, just because you don't know about parking. And
Right.
It's been a couple of years since I went to Havelock, so I took the Carteret County side and cut through Stella and went that way. And took 9 miles. So it was a little bit of a quicker than I anticipated, but I got there way before just to get a lay of the land and and talk to the coaches. I know the Havelock coaches pretty well, and we were able to kind of just hang out and talk for a few minutes before they really got in the coaching mode. But I'm about 45 minutes before the game, I'm like, well, where is everybody? Because Havelock stands weren't really that filled. The Cardinals fans were still kind of showing up, and I'm like, well, this might not be a big crowd. And then I think everybody just was trying to get there, and then probably hung out in the parking lot for a while, and then had to go through the security. So even us media people have to go through the metal detectors and everything. So it is frustrating, but those deputies and are just doing their job. But the Havelock folks, I've heard the Havelock school folks are pretty uptight about certain things. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what
can understand.
I don't know whether this is usual or not, but
We're just spoiled. That's all.
I've been to other away games, and I've never had any quite that kind of no, you won't.
Maybe they knew something we didn't know.
Well, I was kind of counting on that, given the law enforcement presence, multiple deputies with dogs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what happens is because Havelock is such a high-profile high school football program, and there's very few teams left playing the state, you're going to have a lot of those. You're going to have some riffraff attend these games. You're going to have a lot of those hanger-oners that people that want to jump on the bandwagon when they haven't been to Havelock all season long. And we talked about before. There's people that masquerade as media and want to go to the big game because it makes them feel important when they haven't really been doing they have no idea what it means to be media in the first place. But so you have a lot of security. You have a lot of people that wouldn't normally show up that are all of a sudden showing up. So I think that's one of the reasons why they're just very uptight and strict about who they. I had to show them just to get on the field. I had to show them my credentials, and so you have to show your credentials 3 or 4 different levels just to be able to get on the sideline.
Yeah. Well, I don't do the sidelines. I'm not the media that you are or that the TV guys are. I don't need to get there. I've got a long lens that I sit in a position. I pick my spot, same spot, all games from wherever I am. And I enjoy the spot that I pick from. I get the photos that I need. Unfortunately, there were 3 TDs run back to back to back to back. And on the other side of the field, I mean, holy moly! I needed a different lens. I'm using a 300 millimeter lens. I needed at least a 500 to get something decent out of it. But so I didn't even. They were running down the sideline on the other side, which is 250,000 yards away from me. Lord of mercy! But anyway, it gave me a chance to applaud.
What a game! What a game!
It's a great game. How do you type or write? Not type. How do you write any stats when you can't write with your gloves on, can you?
No, and you can't post scores on your phone or social media on X with gloves. So trust me, it was difficult. You had to. I think my hand was kind of cramping how cold it was.
Yep, got that.
And so most teams you have several seconds to write down the plays and doing the stats and everything. But with Jacksonville, they're going so fast, bam, 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 that you only have a few seconds to get everything done. So it can be very difficult. And add the cold elements. I mean, it's very difficult. But when you've been doing it for this many years, you kind of learn how to adapt and
shorthand. Crystal's shorthand.
So, and then you go home. After the game, you do the interviews, and in most circumstances, you try to find a place to write, and that's probably what I'll do next Friday in Fayetteville. Is you try to find a McDonald's or somewhere to write and go ahead and post that on.
You mean where it's warm?
Yeah, where it's warm.
Okay, I know what you mean.
With Havelock not being too far away, I was able to come home and write the story and transcribe and everything. So it all worked out, and I think I wrote a pretty good story about highlighting the games and everything. And it was a great game. I mean, halftime you're thinking, oh, the Rams, have scored 3 straight touchdowns. This game may be over if they score one more. And then Damon June just takes over in the third quarter.
Yeah. 4 3 TDs is the way I counted. I hope I was right.
Right now, Friday, is showing
Well,
him.
that's how I let off my story.
Okay.
So in 4 minutes of the third quarter, about 4 minutes in the third quarter, he had 3 carries for the and 3 touchdowns and 198 yards.
I'm like, this is like, against Havelock. My goodness gracious, against Havelock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the powerhouse. So, and they weren't playing badly. They just couldn't get it together there for a while. I think that our opening kickoff to them was the demoralize them. We kicked off. They, for whatever reason, deep inside the 10-yard line, the guy was going to grab it. He grabbed at it, and he dropped it. And by that time, we were there. Our kicker is kicking things way up high. Gives us lots of time to get downfield. That's what I'm noticing. Not quite like the bullet line that so many kickers do.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of depends on, these coaches do a great job of okay, who should we kick the ball to, or who should we not kick the ball to?
Yeah.
So who's the big playmaker? So I think they might have saw something. I do think the cold weather did play a part because that young man just couldn't feel the ball, and it kind of just, it's a pointy ball, so it kind of takes weird bounces, and it took a weird bounce into the end zone. So yeah, it was a great break. A great play for the Cardinals, and it really set the tone for early on, and. Then they get a stop, and then they score a touchdown a few minutes later, and then all of a sudden, 3 minutes into the game, they're upset 14-0. But again, and then they're up 21-7 later in the game. But you knew Havelock was going to come back, and like I said, when they scored 3 straight touchdowns in the second quarter, and it was up 7 at halftime.
Yeah,
you're thinking, this may be. I mean, well, me and Brian North, I actually hung out inside his car at halftime. Brian North from Channel 12. And him and I were actually talking as they look. This, if Havelock gets one more score, or if Jacksonville doesn't come out, this game could be over.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't mean that derogatory, but we just kind of were, being professional, adding our professional opinion. But then Jacksonville comes out in the third quarter and, like I said, scores 3 straight touchdowns, and and then that was the game.
Yeah. Well, it was, and Havelock could not get it together again. They came out, and after the first, when we got 21, we were down. They were down 21-7 at the beginning,
right?
And it was like they could not get it together. But all of a sudden, they changed their pattern. I don't know football plays. I don't know how that worked out, but I noticed a complete difference in the way they were doing things, and suddenly. We were tied at 21, and then they got another one going in just at the end of the second quarter, and I'm like, okay, they got their act together. They looked like Havelock of older Havelock earlier in the season, and I was worried. My wife said, "Don't worry about it. The universe has got us. I've already checked in. We're going to win." Seriously, that's the way she put it. She was chanting.
Yes.
I did get confirmation. Jacksonville coach Bo Williams just texted me, and their game Friday night at Fayetteville 71st High School is at 7:30.
7:30. Okay.
7:30.
Okay, we got an extra half hour to get there.
Right.
I'm going to leave Thursday, I think, just to make sure.
So 7:30. It is going to be a tough game. I mean, Fayetteville 71st is. They've been kind of one of the king poobahs throughout the season. Yep. They're undefeated, and they've been one of the top teams throughout the all season. So it's gonna be tough. I mean, it's gonna be tough. Fayetteville 71st went to the state championship game last year, so they're the reigning state runner-up, and they returned a bunch of players from that team. So it's gonna be a tough game. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things, but if the Cardinals play like they're supposed to, they can make things very interesting.
Okay, our team, we got a full complement. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's out on injury status, right? We're good to go?
Yeah, it looks like everybody, other than your bumps and bruises, it looks like everybody's
they don't count.
Going to be good to go. And then, Friday 7:30, I'm going to head over there later on this afternoon, practice, talk to a few of the guys, and get their thoughts. And then I'll be at the game on Friday. And then if they win, they'll play in the state 3A championship games either the following Friday or Saturday at NC State.
Okay, so they'll be in Raleigh. Gotcha.
Saturday would be nice.
Yeah, Saturday would be easier to go to. Do I have anything Saturday? I don't have anything on Friday. I don't know. I had something this past Friday, but I didn't go to it. I went to the ball game instead. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy I did. It was a wonderful deal. Wonderful
Let me
deal.
see. So
Anyway, Chris, enjoyed the article, and I'm and just
I'll be sure to share that.
Loved the game. It was just
I thought I did.
tremendous game. You really needed to be there. It's hard to put it into words. It's hard even to watch it on TV and get the feel. If you ever sit up in the stands where I do, there's a group of us that kind of sits there. We don't know each other's names. We just know each other. And oh my goodness gracious, it was off and running. We were good.
And so it should be a great game on Friday, and then bundle up. It's probably going to be another cold night, but that's what this is about. I mean, this this is what makes high school football. I mean, all sports are important, but high school football really there's just a different environment. So it's going to be pretty neat Friday night.
Yeah, thanks to the team there. Thanks to the high school and to Craven County for making sure we got handrails going up those bleachers too. They have handrails, like White Oak has handrails.
All right, Chris.
Like Jacksonville does not.
I just shared those stories.
All right. Well, thank you. And then I probably will have to take. I'm still trying to work on trying to get some photos on photography. So I was able to bring in my retired Colhurt John Oldhouse out of retirement.
Oh yes.
So,
John does fabulous.
If you see anything, on our Facebook page you like, let me know what it is. I'll send you a high resolution.
Oh, will do. I appreciate it.
There was one run early on, quarterback. He takes the ball. And I'm sitting in up until a lady stood up in front of me, but it's all right. It's all good. And he went through, and that was my whole series. I used that as a series of pictures. And he took the ball, and he was off. He was gone. And what impressed me is what I call the pocket. They had him in a pocket. He had enough blocking inside that pocket. Of course, he was out running a lot of the blockers, but once there was a key block. Well, there were a bunch of key blocks to get him there, and then once inside the pocket, there's one guy. And what was really cool, number 11 on our side was making sure number 11 on the other side, and the picture shows both jerseys with number 11s in them. So
that's pretty cool.
It looked pretty cool to me. Just one of those juxtaposition photos,
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, every now and then when you're taking photos, and I use the max one that I have is a 70 to 200 millimeter camera lens that that I really have fun with. So but sometimes you get lucky and you get a really great shot. A really great photo. I mean, the action photos are great, but I really like taking the emotion. The kids being excited, the kids maybe laughing because somebody told a funny joke, and unfortunately, sometimes you do have to take those photos of people being sad because they are disappointed. And but a lot of those. Rayford, there's a lot of those photos that capture the emotion really capture the story.
Oh, absolutely. I would just like to have photos and be a fly on the wall in the back and during halftime in the locker room. That's where I would have loved to have been Friday night, because I know there's some strategizing going on back there.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure there's some neat language that's going on before games and at halftime in the locker room.
We call that expressive language.
Right. You better get out there and do it.
And good old Coach Hewitt was the one back in my day at Jacksonville High. He was expressive even during PE when he taught PE. So it didn't matter. I can imagine what he was on the football field. Wow.
Yes.
He was a fireball. All right, sir. We will see you later this week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Talk to you on Thursday.
Talk to you guys. I will call back in on Thursday.
Thank you.
Okay,
We're looking forward to it. Bye. Marine Forecast brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. While the holidays are a joyous time for many, it can be a time of depression and stress for others. Childhood traumas may resurface even when you're an adult. The stress of gift buying and dealing with relatives we may not get along with, a lot can contribute to feelings of hopelessness, sadness, and depression. Left untreated, this can sometimes lead to self-harm attempts. Nothing's worth that. It is important to know the signs of depression and to look for them in family members and friends, those around us who may not seem like themselves. If you suspect a loved one may need help, you can contact Community Prevention Services Incorporated. The staff can help folks cope with and work through their feelings of depression. They are here to ensure you know there are people who care and actually want to help. No one is alone, and Community Prevention Services wants people to know this. Call them to get the ball rolling, whether it's for yourself or someone you care about. It makes a difference. Give them some help in advance. 910-353-0972. That's 910-353-0972. Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. Locally owned, locally operated. Offshore today out to 20 nautical miles. Westerly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming southwesterly this afternoon. Seas only 2 to 3 feet. 3-foot waves from the southwest about every 5 seconds. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Tomorrow, pretty decent. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Did you ever hear the old thing, if you don't have anything good to say, you should just shut up? Or words to that effect? Well, I can't shut up. Wednesday's marine forecast heads for the toilet. Winds from the south 25 to 30 knots with gusts to 40 knots. Seas 8 to 11 feet. You might get one of those rogue waves at 14 feet. Building to 10 to 14, occasionally up to 18 feet in the afternoon on Wednesday. 18 feet.
That explains why it's going to be Wednesday inland. Wednesday, yes.
Do you really need to know more to know that it's not going to be a good day in the ocean?
You need to park those
near
boats.
Shore.
Uh-oh.
Seas 6 to 9 feet, occasionally up to 11 feet. Building to 9 to 12 feet, occasionally to 15 feet in the afternoon.
What, they got a nor'easter out there or something?
Sounds and rivers very rough. Go Christmas shopping. Get a haircut. Fill up the car. Think about Christmas dinner. Plan for the cold on Friday night at the football game.
Yes.
But forget about going offshore.
Okay, today there's a 50% chance of rain starting later this afternoon and early this evening. Cloudy with a high near 64. Tonight, rain, cloudy with a low around 57. Yay. Tuesday, a slight chance of rain early in the morning, partly sunny with a high near 72. And Wednesday, here you go, 100% chance of showers, high near 71, breezy with a south wind 14 to 20 miles per hour with a gust as high as 32.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe by next weekend, I can get the rest of my leaves up because they should all be in the yard by then.
Well,
but
it might be in somebody else's yard.
Good news, Friday night is a high of 47 during the day. Bad news, a low of 29.
Well, that's
a little bit warmer
than
it was this last Friday night.
So and it got down lower than the 23 later on.
Yes.
It was 23 when we left at about 9:30
I think it was lower than that because I was watching the weather. I think it got down like 19, Rayford, before the game was over. It was just like, I felt for y'all. I felt so guilty not being there, but then and again.
Let's go across the big pond. Let's go there to Syria.
What
my golly, Miss
crazy
Molly.
mess that is.
Dictator Assad, pretty much done. He's ruled, probably a tame word in this case, Syria, creating hate and discontent for the region, running a campaign of terror, caused fear among the residents. Good riddance. Only problem, his demise leaves a bunch of ISIS leftovers in a position to rise again. In that respect, the U.S. airstrikes were launched against known terrorist locations, dozens of strikes. Assad fled the country and was granted asylum by Russia.
Yep.
That's just special, right?
Right.
This brings an end to a half century of rule by the Assad family. Islamist groups have marched on the capital as the U.S. has tried to prevent them from gaining a stronghold on the region. Out with one piece of crap and another wants to pick up where he left off. We need to stop it. President-elect Trump says we should stay out of the internal conflict, the civil war, as he puts it. The problem with that is both our State Department, and along with the armed forces and the CIA, know it is that if ISIS is given even the slightest opportunity to take over, it can rebuild its former organization, and that would pose, once again, a major threat to most every decent country in the world, and that's not what we need. So,
Nope.
With all due respect, for President-elect Trump, better pay attention to them. We don't need to let up on this one at all.
Right,
And on
right.
January 20th, you should be carrying on.
Right.
What we got? Okay. Good morning. We got somebody on the line here. Who's this?
Hey, Ray, for this Trevor. I was just calling to see if you made it through. It looks like you did on
Hey,
Friday night.
Trevor, I about froze my backside off, and there was no hot chocolate. And if it had been hot, it would have been coming from the across the field there. And you know how far away that was from me?
I had to make sure I check in on you and make sure you had your hot chocolate, or at least survived it. It was cold, man.
I survived
yeah.
it. Yeah, it was fun. And I'll tell you what, you were there, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I called for Havelock Radio. I was there, and the emotions were up and down and all around.
Crazy.
It was one of the best games I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, regardless of what side you were on, it was a back and forth there for a little bit, even though we took a fast lead.
Right.
And then the rest of that second
Then
half,
we
saw
the
fans from Havelock had every reason to cheer during the last quarter, or the second quarter of that game, big time.
right.
We made a little headway, but they made a lot of headway. They did extremely well, 4 TDs. So they did good.
They did. And from our standpoint of it, I guess the entire year I've just been kind of waiting for the mental mistakes and the lack of execution in certain areas to finally catch up, and it certainly did. I listened to earlier, and there's the one young man who muffed a couple kickoffs and some passes that are dropped.
Yeah.
And, some blocking that's not there. But I tell you what, man, what I thought the difference was that Jacksonville had them in Jacksonville earlier on this year, but some blocking wasn't as tight and as crisp on certain plays in that game where June could have broken out or Griffin could have broken out. And Bo cleaned that up, and boy did he ever, because Havelock couldn't touch Jacksonville on Friday night. I mean, couldn't even get a hand on them.
Nope.
So I know it will be tough this Friday, but I am so looking forward to that one.
Are you going to?
No, I will watch from home. I'll watch far away. So I've been doing it since day one.
Yeah, I know.
My Fridays have been taken up. I'm gonna enjoy my Friday off.
Well, good for you. Well, I've got to get we got to get on top of this one Friday night. Normally I wouldn't go, but I mean, this is round number 5 of the playoffs. I mean,
we've been to every game.
We've been to virtually every game. There's one or two out of towners that I didn't get to, but
yes.
The in-house and even some of the away games we've been to, but the Havelock game, it had me psyched up. I said about before the end of the third quarter, we gone. We back to back. We're going to Fayetteville. We're going to Fayetteville. Yeah. It was a 1 and 2.
I said the same thing after June's third touch. Not even after the fourth touchdown, but I said after the third touchdown. Right. I said that's it. I mean, there's a polarizing scenario there where when you have 3 plays and you score 3 times, I mean, these are young men. You're just not coming back from that. So it was a valiant effort for them to come back in the second quarter. Jacksonville didn't even really turn it off in the second quarter. Just Havelock put some things together, and Jacksonville moved the ball well. They just got in long passing situations on first and second down and couldn't get the short third downs that they wanted.
Nope.
And they didn't play bad in the second quarter. Havelock finally played Havelock ball, but boy, did Jacksonville just, control everything in that game, and just at will, they did whatever they wanted to do, and it was the best game plan to put in that situation that night. Of course I call for Havelock, but at the same time, I can appreciate the effort and just the way that they played. I mean, they wanted it so much more, and when that happens, you deserve to take it. Well, and boy, did they ever, man. It was lovely to see. I'm so proud for them.
I think we can, I believe we could probably call us undefeated now, because the team that thought they beat us back a couple of months ago, they didn't carry through. So we whooped up on them bad this go around. So
you just never know with Havelock.
That's what I was. I'm with you there. There just seemed as if Jacksonville didn't play. Of course, they didn't play up to their abilities that first go around. Nope. watching it on Friday night, if that's their ability, my word, I mean, it could have been twice and this game could have been in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it could have been
last Friday night. So yeah, I really do hope for them to be able to take care of, some kind of business up there at 71st, because that's a team that's on a mission. And I can see that Jacksonville is also on one too. But yeah, if they're able to get through Fayetteville, man, the sky's the limit for them.
If they do in Fayetteville what they did at Havelock, I don't know that much about 71st except their record. I haven't looked at their stats or anything else, but I don't know. I don't care what kind of stats you had. It would have been tough if Jacksonville plays like this, and with the momentum and with the motive. Oh my goodness gracious, the motive there.
Just wish we didn't have to go to Fayetteville. I wish it was here.
I won't drive. It's not that big a deal. I get over there.
No, Fayetteville's crazy.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I had to work.
It's not that. I mean, it's a nice, relaxing, 2-hour drive. That's not terrible. Well, you know what? It could be out in Alamance County, and it could be 3 hours.
That's right.
It's all good.
That's true.
I think last time I had to go to Fayetteville, I was working, and I was heavily armed. Just to put it that way.
It's been a while since I've been there. I used to have to go there a lot.
I did some undercover work for the ALA over there.
So Trevor, I heard there was some stuff happening last night in Alonzo County. I'm sure you'll be putting out a press release later today.
Yes, I'm heading in about 10 minutes away from the office right now.
Good. We should expect one about 8:15 then, shouldn't we?
We'll be watching.
I don't write that fast.
Well, just call me. Tell me what it is. I'll write it for you.
It's the one I told you about this morning. Yeah, but we didn't want to talk about it because we didn't have facts.
All we got is garbage from the internet, and I don't trust anything.
All we have is social media posts, but
yeah,
and I know somebody
90% of all that is false.
Yeah, just the facts, man.
Just paraphrasing.
Yeah, we said, well, we'll just have to wait for Trevor.
Yeah. Everybody can interpret what they see at a scene. I can tell you that.
Right.
Oh my God! Trying to get two people at a
guy
scene.
Was 6'4". No, he wasn't. He was 5'3".
He wear one brown shoe and one pink shoe. Oh yeah, right. Sure.
No, he wasn't. He was barefoot.
But anyway, whenever you get that, everything's fine. So people, you don't have to be upset. But everything all's good. It ends well.
That's right.
There you go. Exactly. Well, I'm about to pull in here shortly too, so I'm gonna keep the radio on or the Facebook on. I'm gonna keep listening to y'all.
All right.
I just wanted to say hi and appreciate y'all. And
appreciate you too, sir. Thank you.
Thanks,
appreciate
Trevor,
what you're doing.
Everything you do.
Appreciate what you're doing down there with the sheriff's office. Your real job too.
Right.
The sheriff saw a need for this some time ago, which he talked to me about.
He made the right choice.
He made the right choice. He does.
We kept rooting every time we saw the sheriff. We said, "You got to get Trevor."
Yeah, we were your best supporters.
That's right.
I appreciate it. I remember Lee telling me about that a few months back. I certainly appreciate that.
Yes.
Y'all are too good. Y'all too good to me.
You take care, sir.
All right, thanks, Trevor. Have a good day.
Good.
That's Trevor Donnell, former Jacksonville Daily News editor.
He was editor of the Daily News.
Daily News and Sun Journal and whatever else they had in the
all that stuff, right? And now he's a public information officer at the sheriff's office.
Sheriff's office here in Jacksonville.
They couldn't have picked a better one.
Oh my God, he's he can give us the information and he knows he knows what everybody needs to have, but he also thinks. Here's a key thing for public information guys. And I respect them for it. And a couple of them newbies in the past. Don't have to do that with Trevor. You may know what the media and the public needs to have or requires us to provide, but there are also certain things that law enforcement needs us not to know about and broadcast to the world until things come out at the appropriate time.
I understand completely.
We don't. You got to be pro the man first. You got to be sure that we get the facts, and then that should get rid of all the BS that's on social media. That's the first thing. Here are the facts. Now, maybe all the other rhetoric will calm down. And then as the story develops, a story for us to consume it doesn't come out one time.
Right.
There's more information that comes out as the days go by, as the investigation continues. Never can you, if if the law enforcement could get the entire story in one day, you know what?
Right.
Then just try the guy and put him in jail. They don't do that.
That's right. It's just like I told you this morning that I had information from a personal connection
Sure.
to what was going on, but yet it's something that we can't share because we don't have the facts.
Yeah, and I do not suggest that the people out there who will provide information
Right.
are wrong in the way they see it.
Exactly.
But I don't know how many of you folks ever remember the game Gossip.
Oh, yes.
If you have never played that, I want you to pick a simple phrase one time.
Yes. Do it at your next family
Lee
gathering.
wearing a bright pink shirt.
Phew, I'm glad it wasn't the purple bikini. Okay, good.
And orange shoes, had her hair dyed, and she said whatever, and then whispered into one person's ear beside you, and that person is supposed to take that and whisper it into the next person's ear, and by the time you get down to person number 3, 4, or 5, especially about number 5, then have them repeat the facts as were read to Lee, or to about Lee, to the first person, and then the facts that the last person talked about. That's called gossip.
It's exactly the point that you brought up, though, about something occurring and witnesses to what has occurred, and witnesses having a difference on size, shape, color of skin, color of hair, tall, height, weight. I mean, everyone sees things as the way they see them.
And you could have somebody like this guy that they're looking for in connection with the shooting death up in New York.
Yes.
Until we actually saw a photograph with his full picture that we know he was white. You can find people that will assume that they saw somebody who was black, who had a full hoodie on at nighttime. They assume that he was black, and they will describe him as being a black male.
And he wasn't.
And it could have been a white woman.
That's right.
Hello.
It's just normal with
what you see in your head is not necessarily what your eyes see.
Right.
So that's what you got to look out for.
That's why, I can look at a vehicle and be behind it, tell you its license plate number hours later, what kind of vehicle it was, but for some reason, color doesn't register in my head. You'll say, what color was it? And I'm like,
at nighttime, that car that is black could be dark blue.
That's
it
right.
could be a dark green, just depending upon the kind of light that falls on it. And depends upon the color of the light. If it happens to be under a street light and you don't have any other lights on, street lights are a different color temperature.
That's right. Yes.
You never know. It could come out green.
Yes.
And it's a dark blue.
That's right.
That's the way things work. So everybody's got to be careful with all that. So
that's
the reason we don't go jumping a gun. It's not that important to us for breaking news unless somebody is at large posing a threat to people, or there's a traffic jam because of a wreck. We like to inform people about it. We don't need the full details. We just need to know the what's going on and what people need to do.
Well, if there was an emergency and there was a threat to the public, the sheriff's office now is talking about putting out doing that new app that they're going to do where they can put out information. But they have been really great, and I'm sure it's due to Trevor, putting out a lot of information on text and alerts and stuff. So there's been a lot going on, and it's been really good.
I'm glad to see there's not a whole lot of political rhetoric that's coming out of there. You know what?
Years
and years ago, oh my God.
Oh, yes. Things have changed over the years.
Yeah. It's a professional organization, has been for a number of years now.
Right.
Okie dokie. Let's see, what else did I have to do here?
Oh, we've got a lot we've not even yet touched on, but I had a story that I wanted to share with Kelly, and she's not here.
Okay, we'll wait for her tomorrow.
So I'm going to wait for her tomorrow, but it has to do with western part of North Carolina and FEMA.
Oh, Lord.
So we're going to save it. I'm going to save it for tomorrow because I know it's going to make her mad. She's probably going to throw the chair across the room.
Kind of makes you want to slap somebody.
I definitely will want to wait till she's here.
The Christmas season is upon us. The Here,
it
when we
is.
like to get together, break bread, and exchange gifts, finding just the right present gets harder as the years go by. Trust me, the older we get, the more realistic we become. The gift of planning ahead, planning for the future, is one of the most valuable gifts you can give your loved ones. Estate planning provides peace of mind, helps avoid those dreaded family conflicts. I'm sure most of you have been through that or have witnessed them or heard about them. And it ensures your wishes are honored during critical times. Right now, you can get a certificate that entitles the bearer to a basic North Carolina last will and testament prepared by Cheryl P. Colson under the supervision of attorney Samuel S. Popkin. It's valued normally at $300. Today, you can get it 50% off for $150. All documents
good.
can be securely filed with the North Carolina Secretary of State, the Onslow Clerk of Court, or the Register of Deeds as applicable. This offer does not cover complex estates or trusts. In other words, if you've got all sorts of commercial stuff to deal with and all that kind of stuff that's going to be out there involved in your estate, you're the CEO of 5 different corporations. No, it's not going to cover that.
Right.
Sorry. The original numbered certificate must be presented at the first consultation. It's valid for 6 months after it's issued and is only valid for drafting and signing one will. You can't get a bunch of family members in and do 5 different wills. It has no cash value and cannot be used for other legal services. For additional information, call the office of Samuel Popkin, attorney at law. Got 2 numbers here for you. 1-910-347-0100 or 252-647-6016. Again, those numbers, 910-347-0100 or 252-647-6016. This is a legal advertisement brought to you by Samuel S. Popkin, attorney at law. The team at Popkins wants to ensure a wonderful holiday season filled with peace.
Yes. Peace and
Here
joy.
we can certainly hope for that.
Yes. And right now, things seem to be pretty calm.
Yeah, we got the world situation out there still
Yes, Syria.
bothering us,
God.
jumping up and down and all that kind of crap.
Well, I saw it. Now, what's the latest? Excuse me, my throat is so dry today. The latest I read was that he fled to Russia, but yesterday there was rumors that he fled in a helicopter and it was shot down. There were so many
No,
rumors
he's in
going.
Russia and he's
But
been
he's
given
in
asylum.
Russia now. But did you see them tearing down the statues?
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy's up there banging it with his shoe and chipped it and then tipped the head over. It was craziness.
Yeah, there's all sorts of garbage that goes on out there. People, if I lived under that kind of conditions, we are lucky. We get all excited and unhappy and we scream and holler and carry on like banshees sometimes. But it's not like
Right.
we live in that kind of a country.
Right.
Even during our upheavals, during elections and whatever, it's not the same thing. Not the same
Right.
thing that happens in Syria and other places. We've seen it. I don't know what we would do if we had that kind of garbage going on.
I'd be afraid to leave my house.
First of all, it won't happen here. Why?
Right.
We
Well,
have a constitution. We
Yes,
also
we
have a
do.
Declaration of Independence that
if I lived in a country like that, I live in the US of A and I feel very
that's one
confident and safe in my own country.
of the reasons that even for the simplest of what some people say are the greatest of intentions, let's go through and change our constitution.
No, leave it alone.
Come on. There have to be some extremely unusual circumstances. And yes,
Right.
sometimes we do fine tune it, but we're going to repeal that Second Amendment. Okay. And after that, then we're going to say, oh, no.
You start messing with the Constitution, you're going to end up tearing it apart.
If we can get rid of that pesky, now some politicians will tell you, if we can get rid of that pesky Second Amendment, now a lot of people are in favor of doing that. But you know what? Guess what happens next? Okay, so we got this one underneath our belt. Do you think guns are the biggest enemy of politicians?
No,
What is?
their mouths.
What's the biggest problem for political leaders?
is made.
No,
Not quite being honest about,
they don't follow through.
well, go back to, that's right.
The media is responsible. Now, freedom of the media, freedom of the press
Right.
is going to be the next thing. If they ever are successful in getting rid of the Second Amendment, it will be a chump change to get rid of the free speech amendments.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. They can do that. They will not, you will not, no more talk radio. Talk radio is a main enemy of all political leaders.
Yes. Talk radio, internet radio now, YouTube. You forget television.
Yeah, well, that's a different story. But anyway, that's what will happen if they ever decide if they're successful in even weakening the Second Amendment anymore, then that's what will happen next.
Right.
No
right.
doubt.
Well,
President-elect Trump's border czar is putting sanctuary cities who are bucking up against the incoming administration's toughened border stance on notice. Get on board or get out of my way. The former acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director, Tom Homan, laid out the incoming administration's prospective plan to cut back on illegal migrant crime and make communities safer across the entire United States, despite blue city pushback. The powers in states and cities who have said they will not cooperate with the federal government and could end up causing federal agents who are trying to arrest criminal illegal aliens to get hurt. Homan made his point succinctly. If you let us in your jail, we can arrest the bad guy in your jail and in the safety and security of your jail. One officer alone can do that. It's easy. He's in jail, just arrest him for whatever he's wanted for. But when you release a public safety threat back into the community, you put the community at risk, you put you put the alien himself at risk. Because if we have to go take him down, if we go in with a team to take him down, we don't go alone.
right.
And the chances of him bucking up or having a gun or just breaking bad are really high. And then when that happens, your community is at risk. Because if he starts shooting, no telling who's going to get hit.
Right.
We start shooting back. It just gets to be really messy. So if the folks home are calling the bad guys are already under arrest in the United States by the authorities, why would a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state not want to cooperate? He's already a bad guy because you arrested him.
Well,
Mr. Sheriff, you arrested this dude, or Mr. Chief, you arrested this dude. Why don't you let us go in? Because we got warrants on him too. Why don't you let us go in and we arrest him?
well, all that backfired, didn't it? Letting all these people into our country, thinking you're going to give them a green card and a voter registration and WIC coupons, all that. It all backfired.
I'm pretty sure that any number of law enforcement agencies, including independent sheriff's offices, those people who are elected independently,
Right.
they don't have bosses like the mayor or the city council. I'm pretty sure that those folks, they will cooperate with their fellow federal lawmen.
Well, I certainly hope that if they don't, they put the cuffs on them.
They're not controlled by the will of the politicians, including mayors and governors. It'll be interesting to know if North Carolina Governor-elect Josh Stein has any plans to try and block federal agents from doing their jobs. Has anybody, any reporters, have any of the reporters out there asked him about that as governor?
Well, it depends on who the reporters are.
I haven't heard anybody ask him. Personally speaking, if any governor in my mind or any mayor or anyone else gets in the way of the feds doing their lawful jobs, buses should be brought in to round up any and all who support ongoing illegal activity and charge them with being accessories.
Well, I can tell you one thing,
and harboring fugitives.
Let them go against the federal government on this. Let them do their own thing, because I'm going to tell you what, next go around when it's time to vote you back in, you can hang it up.
Well, they may be in
You're gonna be a
jail
private
after
John
January.
Doe.
They might be in jail
I
after
hope they
January
do.
20th
They
because
out fictitious charges against everybody that was on the scene and running. And
who we got?
so, Mike 2-3.
Michael 456. How are you?
4, 5, 6.
How y'all doing?
Hey, Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
All right. You know, y'all talk about immigration, and I wanted to ask you guys a question.
Can I ask you one first, Mike? Are you on a speakerphone or a Bluetooth or anything like that?
Give it a second. Is that
Yeah.
better?
Okay, speak again. Let me hear you.
Is that better?
Much
Oh,
better. We get echo, we
perfect.
get feedback, we get all sorts of
Yes.
noises on all of those hands-free devices that
Which
they
is
got
the
out
way
there.
of the world.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I do.
Anyway, okay, go ahead now.
Yeah.
Immigration.
All right. So, if we were to mass deport all legal immigrants to this country, would it have an adverse effect on our economy?
Legal
Yes.
or illegal?
You said illegal, right?
I think you said
Illegal, yeah.
Illegal, not
yeah.
legal.
Why
Yes,
should it?
it'll have an immediate because it's going to cost a lot of money to export them. And Venezuela, by the way, will not accept any of their bad people that they sent over here at Biden's request.
Well, I
Well, not just that, but like our agricultural and our construction
Yes,
industries.
it will have an impact on getting some of the work done, but it also might open up those same fields to legal people in this country who have not been able to take those jobs because those jobs pay less money.
That's where I had a conversation with someone about, they were like, well, the legal people start doing it. Well, do you know a lot of Americans, well, before we get to that, unemployment is way down. So you have to look at a pool of people that's available even take those jobs, which is minuscule to actually replace what's going on now. But a lot of Americans think they're just too good for these type of jobs. And yeah, so that's a major problem.
Well, if that's, I'm not going to say that, but let's just say that's the fact that they think they're too good for it. They haven't been hungry long enough. They've been getting a handout too long. If they think they're too good to be able to do that kind of work, good gracious, I've done all sorts of work, and some of it didn't pay nearly as much as the money that I had been making, if you know what I mean. And I stooped to a whole levels to do work.
amen.
So even if we were to say if all unemployed people were to try to take those jobs, it wouldn't equate to the amount of people that we're exporting to, and those jobs are now lost.
I do not know that. You made that as a statement of fact. I do not know that for as far as facts and figures are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just trying to look up the.
You're talking about the total number of unemployed. Now, there may be some jobs out there. Menial jobs, construction jobs are not menial. I can tell you that right. Especially the more skilled construction jobs that are available. The problem with the folks who are working it, some of them are unfortunately or fortunately have higher skill levels, and they're working and doing supervisory jobs in the construction field, but they're being paid under the table because they're not here legally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they were here legally and they were being paid the same rate that the other folks that are in this country today, it would be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some facts from you from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics as of December 6th. Payroll employment rises by 227,000 in November. Unemployment rate changes little at 4.2. So they're saying the unemployment rate has changed very little. Employment trended up in healthcare, leisure and hospitality, government and social assistance. Retail trade lost jobs. So payroll has increased, but unemployment rate has changed very little.
So all the screaming and hollering that Walmart needed to increase their pay by up to $15 an hour.
Let's talk about
McDonald's had to increase theirs to $15 an hour. It has not helped at all, has it, as far as the rate is concerned?
Nope.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing how that works, isn't it?
You would
So
think
then-
as you come closer to the holidays too, people go and get jobs so they can afford Christmas.
Well, they will be doing that.
Yes. Or that's
There will be more retail jobs
Right.
available typically. Now, here's the problem with that too. A lot of those retail jobs locally are not as available because we don't have as many. We have the brick and mortar stores, but how many of y'all actually shop brick and mortar stores? Not according to the mail services that deliver Amazon every day by the ton.
I was at Walmart the other day
Yeah.
and I
Now,
bought there.
as far as some of the people receiving services from the government that are illegal aliens, could those numbers as far as unemployed people be fudged by saying those people belong in that group because they're receiving services by the federal government and count them towards that total?
I don't know how. I do not know how these numbers are gathered. Trying to find out something. There's an old saying out there, Mike: "Figures lie and liars figure."
Mm-hmm.
And I really, unless I could look at it and figure it out for myself and get the facts, just the facts, not the political rhetoric, and that comes from all sides now, not from one particular party or one particular administration. They all do it. They've all got paid liars on staff to make themselves look good.
Yeah. Which is why I think the federal government needs to do a deep dive and an honest deep dive into the situation and find out the actual figures and find out where the Venn diagram shows, that overlap to where we can get true figures. And then they can come to my idea. You already know my idea on the border. We want to militarize it and, stop everything coming. But the people that's in, instead of spending all that money deporting them, wouldn't it be easier to just set up a pathway to citizenship, get the taxes off of them, and as soon as you mess up, you're out of here?
I think first of all, you still have to deport them, and you're still going to get those folks who are not going to want to be citizens. They can make the money without having to pay the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be saddled with that. I don't know whether you've ever been to any construction jobs. I have, where there were illegals working. I went there. And it used to be back in the days when I carried a TV camera, I could clear out a construction job in a heartbeat by showing up with a TV camera. Because you knew who were the deadbeat dads, and you knew who were the illegals, because they all went a running, they scurried. They didn't want to be on TV.
Yeah, that's the fear of deportation.
Yep.
So you take that fear away, you might see a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them might want to be citizens. And from what I hear from from people that I know, that's the things that they yearn the most.
Yeah, well, I do not know that, and I would like to see some more work done before I would even thinking along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have. I do not think we have the wherewithal or the time at this time, because just these people that are in this country right now, you say it's going to cost us a lot to deport them. How much does it cost us to keep them here?
That's what I was just going to say.
that.
The cost of housing them and feeding them. Mike, let me just ask you,
How much would they generate for the economy?
I don't know that they do.
I said they will if you legalize them.
Well, I'm not willing to legalize them just to see if they will contribute to our economy.
Right. Let me ask you, Mike. Let me just put it right out there. What do you feel? What's your thoughts about closing the border? I mean, be real. It's okay. What's your thoughts on closing the border?
Yeah, he's already said that before.
I just want to clarify that.
So what I like to do is set up a wall, not this flat wall that Trump started, where you can take a hacksaw and just hack through it. Put up something like the Great Wall of China, where it's actually sturdy. Put up landmines, UAVs, more border agents, more judges. They handle asylum cases.
Mm-hmm.
The fentanyl machines that were in the border bill, those need to be back out there to where we can catch a lot of stuff going through the ports of entry. But you can stop that physical flow that of the places that are open to the border.
Mm-hmm.
Then that would cut out a lot of stuff and then militarize it. Actually, militarize it to the point where.
Well,
And I know we live in a soft society. Treat it like a 5.
how about this one? How about this one?
Point, you get shot.
I've said this one before. No military installation is open to the public, right? They can't just walk on and off, right? Yeah. So here's what we do: we take 2 miles of the border, 2 miles inside the United States from the border. This is only across the land border with Mexico, right? We don't need it around the Gulf Coast because we got Coast Guard takes care of that pretty well.
Yeah.
But for the land border area from Texas all the way over to California, if you take 2 miles of that, annex it, well, not annex it, but take it under military control, and you make it a live fire training exercise land where you've got troops in there all the time, 24 hours a day, all of the National Guard troops, all of the Army Reserve troops, all of the troops that need to have live fire exercise. They're in and out. They rotate in and out for their 2 weeks of training all along that border for the live fire. And then if you get caught there, you don't need Border Patrol. You just got MPs that can arrest you for trespassing. Period. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, the only problem I see with that is you can set up an international issue between us and Mexico if the cartels want to start attacking them, our regular troops.
I don't think the cartel, I really don't think the cartel wants to go up against a Marine regiment or an Army infantry unit.
Their water off, we're cutting off, you got to remember, we're cutting off billions of dollars of their industry.
Yeah, I know that. Good. They go find something legitimate to do, grow some corn or do something. Get out of my way. You're killing us. 100,000 a year, you're killing us.
Yeah, it wouldn't be advisable for them to do it, but, I could see them doing it.
Yeah,
they've been raising them in the past.
Yeah. So anyway, something's got to be done. I don't know what it's going to be. My suggestion is to the extreme, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I am with you on that.
Okay.
I would rather make money than lose money.
Yeah, and I still think that if we would ever get the real, honest to goodness figures, the dollar figures about how much it's costing us per illegal that's in this country today, whether they're working, whether they're just waiting for a trial or a hearing, they're not on trial, but waiting for a hearing. That's, what was it, 3.5 million are still waiting to hear? No, they're not.
What you read.
The reason they're waiting because they haven't shown up. Some of them, many of them haven't even shown up for their so-called dates. Yeah. They just disappeared into the countryside.
We can go back to some stories. Some of them being let loose in the country.
They ended up in New York, and then they killed the girl down in Georgia.
Macon Riley. Oh my gosh, that trial.
Yeah, but that's the other part of our plan. We set up barracks to where you don't leave, and you get more administrative judges, and you may move these cases faster to where they can be seen within a week.
Yeah, we got to stop them at the border. If you want to have a hearing, all of that will be done within the 1 mile of the border, period. You will have nothing but immigration judges. If you want to go through that trouble, but you're going to be confined until you are heard, until your case is heard.
Exactly.
Put them inside the wall. Let them help build it.
If I go and I want to become a citizen of Russia, do you think they can just let me walk around all over Russia for the 2 years or 3 years or whatever? No.
Like Coles just said, let them build the wall. There's plenty of illegal aliens in this country right now. If you give them that pathway to where, you help build this wall and you do X, Y, Z, you get a pathway. So
there you go.
Citizenship.
Yeah.
There's ways around it. It's just people got to get inventive and, put the past trauma aside of this whole entire thing has been going on for decades and come to a common sense solution.
Of course, you may end up like they did on that World War II, the movie that was set in World War II called Bridge, where they used the Japanese used American troops, American POWs, British POWs to build a big old bridge, and they got it done. Then they blew it up. Okay, so I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Let them work their way into the over the border. That way, it won't cost us anything.
I personally, I would still hold Mexico accountable because Mexico is encouraging by not taking care of the business. There's not a soul that walks into Mexico south from across the border. They come across Mexico at their southern border, Central and South America, right?
Right.
That's how they get into Mexico, right?
Right.
Why doesn't Mexico just stop them at that very small section of border right there? No,
Because,
they just let them come on in.
Good point.
well, there's a couple of reasons why, and the cartel has a big reason to do with
That's
it.
right. They have all the reason to do with it. Mexico's not run by a free government.
Yeah, and our political stance towards Mexico is not, stout enough to scare them into, all right, who going to be scared up more, the U.S. or the cartels that's right in our backyard,
Well, if Mexico's new president, she's been there for what, 2 months now or something, if she wants us not to do that 25% tariff, then contract with the great United States to go in and eradicate. And I did not say make them just arrest them. I said eradicate, just like you would a nest of vermin. Let us send the right people in to take care of that problem. Hire the United States to do it. Ask us to do it. I mean, other countries, Kuwait certainly asked us to come in to help there, right? What did we do there? We went in and killed people.
Yeah, I'm with that, but there's only one problem with that.
Yeah, Mexico won't do
it's
it.
Not just Mexico. It's not just Mexico that we have to take on, because the cartels have tentacles throughout all the Southern American countries.
Yeah, but most of it's going to be in Mexico because they're doing it right near the border, because that's where the big stuff is. All right. All right, Mike.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Next time. Bye.
Yeah, I enjoyed his comments.
Oh, I like him.
Yes.
I like Mike's comments.
Oh, I do too.
He's a realist.
Yes, he is.
The Marine Forecast brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. The holidays, we all know, are a joyous time for most of us. Most of the time, it can be a time of depression and stress for others. Childhood traumas, they may resurface at any time. You never know. The stress of gift buying and dealing with relatives is those relatives we may not get along with at all anyway. A lot can contribute to feelings of hopelessness, sadness, and depression. Left untreated, this can sometimes lead to self-harm attempts. It's important to know the signs of depression and to look for them in family members and friends, those around us who may not seem like themselves for one reason or another. You, generally speaking, if you're around them for a little bit. If you suspect a loved one may need help, you can contact Community Prevention Services Incorporated right here in Jacksonville. The staff can help folks cope with and work through their feelings of depression. They're here to ensure you know there are people who care and actually want to help you. No one is alone, and Community Prevention Services wants to help people know about this. Call them to get the ball rolling. You got to start somewhere. This would be a good time. Whether it's for yourself or someone you care about, it makes no difference to them. They'll get it. They'll take care of it. They'll take the project on. 910-353-0972. That's 910-353-0972. Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville, locally owned, locally operated. Offshore today out to 20 nautical miles, looking good for the today and tomorrow. Westerly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming southwesterly this afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. 3-foot waves from the southwest every 5 seconds. When the wind is from the west, light.
Fishing
wind
is
from
the best.
the west, fishing is the best.
Right.
Sounds and rivers of moderate chop tomorrow. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop. Wednesday, Katie bar the door.
Gonna be rough.
Winds out of the south 25 to 30 with gusts to 40 knots. Seas 8 to 11 feet, occasionally up to 14 feet, building to 10 to 14 feet, occasionally up to 18 feet in the afternoon on Wednesday. You don't really need to know any more than that, right?
You need to stay in port, in harbor.
That's enough to keep you ashore.
Yes.
Yeah, near shore, seas 6 to 9 feet, occasionally to 11 feet, building to 9 to 12, occasionally up to 15 feet in the afternoon. Now, near shore, offshore, near shore, inshore. Inshore is before you get to the ocean going out. Near
Yeah.
shore is along the coastline, close
Right.
by, right? That's the near shore stuff. But near shore seas 6 to 9 feet, occasionally to 11 feet. Surfers, it don't.
Oh, they love
It's,
it.
yeah, but it can be extremely
I'm going to be
dangerous.
watching Rodanthe the next couple of days.
Yeah, that could
See
be a
what goes
problem.
next.
Sounds and rivers very rough. You can spend Wednesday shopping, getting your haircut, filling up the car, and then plan for your Christmas dinner if you haven't already. Forget about going offshore.
Mine may be a TV dinner. We'll see. Okay. Today, a 50% chance of rain starting later this afternoon. Cloudy with a high near 64. Tonight, rain, cloudy with a low around 57. Tuesday, a slight chance of rain before 7 a.m. Partly sunny with a high near 72. And Wednesday, here we go, 100% probability of showers. High near 71. Breezy with a south wind 14 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 32.
Ouch.
Now, would that be inshore? Considered inshore?
It's land.
Right. Well,
Inshore
we're
is-
in.
Inshore, inshore, it means from the ocean
I
up
know.
to the end
I
of
was
the
just
water.
picking on you. Yeah, I just
The
wanted
Daniel
to make
Penny
things.
case,
Oh yes.
the defense, they're going to start
Mhm.
deliberating again
today,
Never
right?
know. The most serious of the charges against him has
Judge
been
dropped
dropped.
it. Yes.
I'm not sure that is exactly totally legal because, I mean, the jury said they could not reach a verdict twice.
Yes.
So
I
he sent them back and he says, now you can just discount that charge. Oh my. If nothing else, I think that probably opened. I'll have to get, I need to get a legal mind because I believe that opened it up for an appeal in case.
Well, the thing about it
It's an easy
is,
appeal.
can the judges make that decision himself, or
I don't
does
know.
he have to go into agreement with the district attorney over
Well, it
that?
doesn't
The
matter who he has
prosecutor.
to. Well, the DA agreed with him.
Okay, well, there
Well,
you
wait a
go.
minute. How do you drop a charge and let them just?
Well,
No, you can tell a jury. I mean, it happens all the time. You can tell a jury you may find this man
Right.
guilty of first degree murder. You can find him if you don't find that the fit first
Right.
degree murder that in your mind you
Mhm.
can find second degree murder.
That's
You can
right.
find him guilty
Yes.
of manslaughter. You can find him not guilty. I'm not
so there's
sure
like
that the
3 or
judge.
more different charges.
I'm not sure that the judge can take a murder or manslaughter in this case. I don't think he can just say, I'm going to dismiss that right now, even though the DA says, okay, let's in the middle of a trial.
I've seen it happen, like on this Karen Reed case. The jury was hung,
Uh-huh.
and like she was charged with 3 different charges, like starting with murder, then manslaughter, then blah blah blah
Well,
blah.
if
You know, all these
if
lesser
they're
charges.
charged with that.
But they're fighting in court right now to have 2 of those charges dismissed because the jury, the way the whole thing was set up with the jury to vote on, they voted not guilty on one charge.
Mhm.
They voted not guilty on another charge, and they hung on the third charge. So technically, she should not be retried on the 2 charges that they found
I
not
don't know.
guilty.
I don't know how that works. I don't.
There's
if,
been a big
if
thing
they-
on that one.
if they declare a mistrial, does that mean they start all over from where they left off? No, I don't think
No,
so.
they
I
start
think
all over again.
from the very beginning,
From the very
which would
beginning.
include the original charges. Now,
But no,
for a new trial, the district attorney
you can drop.
can move and say, okay, we didn't have enough of that one,
Right.
so I'm filing new charges, and the only charge it's going to be is manslaughter. Or
But
whatever.
I think in this Daniel Penny case,
but not with the same jury.
But true. But with this Daniel Penny case, if the judge and the DA decided to drop one of those charges and only vote on this charge, I think it's perfectly legal. I mean, I've seen it
Last-ditch
happen.
effort.
Yeah.
Last ditch
get-
effort. And if I
to
was
get
a
a verdict.
jury, if I was on the jury, I'd say, nope, I'm just going to hold out. I'm going to say not guilty, period.
I
Bottom
know
line.
judge is taking a whole lot of heat for this one.
Because that they're grasping at straws, and just to save face, they're going to convict this man, even though we could not get a
think it's
majority.
gonna be a
We
hung-
could not get a unanimous.
Yeah. I really do think it's
I'd
going to
hold
come
out.
back hung.
I'd hold out If the rest of them didn't want to find it not guilty, I'd be the only one. Y'all could try this thing again.
I think it's kind of crazy that they dropped one of the, a jury couldn't make a decision. Okay, so we're going to drop this.
No, I don't.
Only vote on this, which they can do from what I'm understanding, but I still think the jury's going to come back hung.
Not if I don't think he can drop the charges. The jury can make up their mind whether they find him guilty of first-degree murder or second-degree murder or manslaughter, if those are the cases.
Right.
If the
Right.
judge issues that as a legal opinion
Yes.
in here, somebody
We
who
need to
knows North
ask-
Carolina law, because that's
need to have our district attorney on. We have not had
yeah,
him
we
for-
do it. We'll do a good Merry Christmas for
Yes.
Ernie Lee.
Yes.
Find out how many people he still got in jail.
Yeah, was that? Yeah,
all
he
5
did.
counties,
The judge
4 counties.
dismissed the manslaughter charge. This
In
will
the
allow
middle
the
of
jury
trial.
to focus on whether Penny is
Ugh.
guilty of criminally negligent homicide.
In the middle of a trial.
I've heard of it happening with a
I
lot of the
have not.
trials that I
In
watch.
the middle
But
of a trial?
yeah, well, same thing happened with Karen Reed.
They dropped the charge, or they just said you don't have to find her guilty.
No, they actually didn't drop the charge,
Okay.
but the jury voted her not guilty on 2 of the charges. But now they're insisting on going back and retrying her on those same 2
Well,
charges
they should.
that the jury found her not guilty,
If-
though.
if
It's
it's-
double jeopardy.
No, it's not. If
Yes,
it's
it is.
declared a mistrial, it's not double jeopardy.
But it was only, she had 3 charges.
It
They
doesn't
found
matter.
her not guilty on 2 of them and guilty on 1. So is it fair that they
They have
retried
not
her?
concluded that judge. They have not concluded that trial.
Oh, the trial's over with. It's going to be a brand new trial.
No, they have not concluded her trials because she's going to have to go for another one.
Right. Right.
So it was declared a mistrial. So
But
therefore,
what if
there
it
is
was
no
you?
trial.
What if you had 3 charges on you and the jury found you innocent of 2 of them?
They
Wouldn't
didn't find you
them
innocent
to-
of anything.
No, they found her not guilty
That's
of
the
the 2
difference.
charges. Right. So why should
They
be
could
she
not reach a verdict for guilty or on the trial.
only on 1 charge?
They could not find her guilty on that one,
Right.
but they could not. They're hung on the final one.
They-
So they got to be tried on everything. I think they have to be tried all over.
I don't know.
from-
They
from
can't.
the
Well, they
get-go.
gave the DA the option and the judge the option, which she's like, no, you got to watch her. She's crazy. But they're appealing it now to the U.S. Supreme
Now,
Court.
if it's declared a mistrial, which I assume it was,
Right.
then the DA can either file the charge only for the charge that they are.
That's what they're trying to do.
The DA can do that,
Right.
bring charges, only that charge, or
That's
he
what they're
can
trying
bring
to do.
all the charges again.
And they're refusing to do it because right now
Who's refusing to do what?
the DA is refusing to drop
it.
those 2 charges and only charge her with a 1.
Well, that's his prerogative.
I know it's his prerogative, but I still don't think it's right that she was found
Another set of
guilty by
jurors.
a jury.
No, she was not.
She was. They said not guilty on
They
those 2
should
charges.
say not guilty, but the trial was not over.
They were in deliberations.
It's not over
I think
until the fat
I
lady
don't-
sings.
Nah, mm-mm. It is over. It was a mistrial.
But that's right, a mistrial.
Yeah, but they
But
found
they
her.
cannot. If it's a mistrial, there's no guilt or innocence there. You understand
But
that,
think
right?
about it. If it was you sitting there being
It doesn't
charged,
matter.
and the jury found you not guilty on 2 of the 3 charges, would you want to be retried?
I don't think that. Well, I don't. You know,
I know,
whether
it's
I would
crazy.
want to or not. That's beside the point. Is
I know it's
what
crazy.
the letter of the law is. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and that's another thing that gets me. Why can't the law be the same in each state? Why
Oh.
does each state have their own set
well, it's
of
got its own
laws?
stuff. Anyway, we will find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
what's going to happen.
We need to talk to Ernie.
Yeah,
to
well, that's
DA.
everything I'm talking about is what I've seen in North Carolina. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about Georgia,
Hey, can
South
we,
Carolina.
let's
or,
flip it a little bit. Let's
BFE.
come closer to home. You've been following the news on the Martin County commissioners.
Nope.
2 of them no longer there, but the former Martin County manager, James Bennett, and former county commissioner chair, Ronnie Smith, have both been indicted on charges of willful failure to discharge duties.
Good.
Say that fast. The indictment against Bennett and Smith involved a controversial pay raise for Bennett that Smith allegedly authorized, and that took place on December 1st, 2022. So the chair of the county commissioners decided to authorize this pay increase for the county manager without taking it before the county commissioners
Whoops.
for a vote. Now there's 5 county commissioners in Martin. But
Is it malfeasance of office? Is that what they?
Bennett's
why they-
indictment reads the jurors for
the
this
indictment against them. Okay.
date upon their oath present that on or about the date of the offense shown and in the county named above, the defendant named above unlawfully, willfully, and knowingly did as the Martin County manager omit, neglect, and refuse to discharge a duty of his office by authorizing and accepting an 18% salary increase for himself without approval from the rest of the board. Oh,
You're an Amazon freak, right?
yes.
Okay. $25 flights they're offering. Airline
To
flights.
where?
From one end of the runway to the other, I think, but I don't know. In time for the holiday season, Amazon is bringing back its $25 flights for young adults looking to save money on travel.
Yeah.
Amazon and Student Universe, a travel company that offers discounts to young adults and students, are participating for a second year to offer $25 flights during the holidays. The companies are offering 5,000 flights to eligible young adults between 18 and 24 years of age. Dadgummit. The airfare deal aims to provide for affordable travel to young adults during an already expensive time of the year. For most, about 2/3 of Gen Z and millennials expected to take on debt during the 2023 holiday season, with 1/3 of Gen Zers, in the world, not able to afford traveling home for the holidays because of accruing expenses like student loan payments, according to a Credit Karma survey. Whoopee. That's special. If you're not, if shopping has got you down, if you're looking for a gift for somebody and it's special, is you know something that they've been looking for, or something that it's pretty obvious that they need, or it's pretty cool. They've made mention of it. You've got one that they would, I'd like to have that, or they borrow yours from time to time, and it's affordable, and you want to get them that. That's cool. That's something they can use. So just to buy for the sake of buying, I don't want it. In fact, I don't want anything. I'm letting that be known perfectly clear now. Candace Lynn and company don't want anything. If I get something else, I have to take something else and throw away. We don't have room for it. We are downsizing. We got more stuff in here. This room is stacked up with junk.
It
at this
kind of
point in
got
time.
stacked over the last couple
There's
months.
no
didn't it?
room to put anything else in this house. Anything that comes in, there's got to be at least 2 more items of equal size to go out. I got a whole one side of a garage over there with stuff in sale. Y'all want something? Come get it.
Oh, I have to go look.
I
think I've seen most of it.
got a great refrigerator out there. We don't need it. We got
I don't need
too
one.
many refrigerators.
Right.
We got what else have I got out there? There's a built-in oven. Anybody want a built-in oven? Make you a great deal on it.
Drop-in range?
Yes,
You drop it in?
No, it's not a drop-in. It's just the built-in oven part. The oven part.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I
Okay.
got you.
If y'all want one, it works great.
I don't cook, so
It works great. Don't need a second one. We've
Right.
got a drop-in range. We replaced the other system with some time ago. This was not bad. We threw the old range part out of the other one because had seen better days.
Yeah.
One of its burners still worked, so I chunked it.
yeah.
Garbage time.
I was able to find someone to take my.
I'm not.
It was.
It's
working.
cheap. Cost you a few dollars, but it ain't going to cost you what a good working one would cost. It's
Right.
240 volts. Come get it.
Yeah.
There's a refrigerator here. It works great. Has it got an ice maker? I don't know. We didn't have the ice maker hooked up. I believe it does have an ice maker, but we just didn't have it hooked up.
Huh.
Didn't have water down here. It was a secondary unit.
Right.
So come get it. It works great. There's a gun cabinet down there for rifles. You can clean it up. It was in storage, but you can put your long guns in there, a half dozen or so of them. It's got a glass front and all that sort of good stuff on it, a drawer down below. If it's something you want to display, a half dozen rifles and shotguns in it, you could. It's not a safe.
Yeah, I don't want to display my stuff.
Some people do. They like to do it.
They used to be the big thing.
And it used to be, this will go cheap. You want it? Come get it.
Well, you know what? You can always use it for other things too. Put some shelves in there. So much you can do with those things now.
Whatever you want to do with, I don't care. If you got a Daisy BB rifle you want to put in there, do what you want to do with it. There's a bunch of stuff like that around here. Just let me know. Come by, and I'll show you the garage. Please, Robbie would like to have her side back.
Yes, I know. She's
got other stuff in there. I forgot what else is in there. We're going to have some more too. So anyway, don't buy any gifts for me. We got too much junk as it is. And more gets delivered every day.
Yes.
We're remodeling, so that's taking up our time, and we don't need to store more junk.
Right.
All right.
Did you read the story about the big raid over the weekend?
It wasn't here.
Yeah, Pender and Oslo. I'm gonna send it to you right now, because you need to read this. It has concerning some bars that were selling drugs out of the bars, and they were ABC licensed too. So ALE got involved. It's been a sting operation going on. They made quite a few arrests. I'm going to send you the story right now because you need to, if I can get this to come up here.
Yeah.
Come on.
I was reading over the weekend too, and I haven't put out anything, but all that big bunch of vape raids, the sheriff has been sued for them. They said, well, I want y'all to listen to my way of thinking here. 0.3% or less of active ingredient in pot, THC, is not illegal. I did not say it was legal. I said it's not illegal if it's 0.3.
Right.
0.3. That's 0.3 of 1% of that active ingredient is legal. And they claim that the sheriff's office, other agencies seized a bunch of stuff. And when they tested it, it tested higher. Well, here's what they don't tell you. Here's what they did say first. They said, well, the way it's tested by the manufacturers is that it's tested when it's really dry and yada, yada, yada has been shrunk wrapped or whatever they do to them. Here's what occurs. You test it as with the same moisture content that you're going to have when you're smoking it, when you light it up, when you hook it up and you test it. You don't go in there. Does anybody consume the raw product?
I couldn't tell you enough about it.
They put it in vape. They put it in a vape.
No way.
They put knowledgeable. They put it in a vape machine and it gains weight.
Right.
Therefore, it's illegal. Somebody will say, that's not fair. The lawyers will. That's not fair. Well, there's already a statute about that.
Right. Yes.
Here's the U.S. code that could be applied in this particular case. The U.S. code says that any gun capable of firing without having to pull the trigger each time more than one round that comes out, in other words, a machine gun, or any weapon that has been modified to be able to fire, even though it was manufactured as a semi-automatic, or any weapon that could be restored to fire, even if it can be easily restored to fire fully auto or made to fire fully auto with a minor change, that's illegal. That's a weapon of mass destruction. That's the U.S. code. Okay.
Correct.
So therefore we have grounds to say that. Now, what is the difference? If this stuff cannot be used in its current form, freeze-dried or whatever they do to it, and packaged, if it's not usable then, and you make it ready to use by putting it in a vape machine, and therefore the product is higher in concentration, that's illegal in
Right.
the way that I would interpret the law.
Well,
So-
from what I read on that lawsuit, the people that are suing are trying to say that some of the stuff was not even tested. I just highly doubt
I
that
don't
the
know.
sheriff's office is going to go out there and just say, yeah, that looks like it's over the
Did you
limit.
see the amount of money that they seized?
Oh, yes.
How much money is? There's a lot of money in this business, right?
Yes, there is. And
What was it? $500,000?
something like that. It was a lot of money.
And the
I was
rate
just
of
like,
several vape
yeah.
shops, 70 some vape shops or whatever.
Well, that's why the city and the county's cracking down on these new vape shops.
That's a lot of
opening
money.
now. Yes,
Why are people going to vape shops?
because they can get those type of. I'm not
You
saying
can't sell you can't sell it to underage people.
but they're doing it because
And
how
they
many
had-
rays have been out there and they've found it.
And they had an underage person selling it.
in
one of the stores.
I know of
Okay, so I'm-
one.
I,
I know of one that this young man I know is probably not even 18, and he's selling stuff he shouldn't even have his hands on. But this story that just came out this weekend, it was ALE, North Carolina ALE had finished a months long investigation where it discovered drug use and distribution at 2 ABC licensed bars in Onslow
Well-
County. Led to 15 arrests and 144 felony charges.
Carter, Onslow, and Pender counties.
Yes.
Well, my goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
The bars, these were not illegal outlets, in other words. These are regular bars.
Right. Licensed bars,
know how
licensed to
many-
sell alcohol.
15 arrests, 144 felony charges. Drug violations occurring at 2 ABC outlets,
Yeah.
810 Queens Creek Road in Hubert, and Riptides. One of them is called The Office. That's at 810 Queens Creek Road. And the other one, Riptides, strange spelling, located at
Right.
Cedar Point. 2 residential locations involved in narcotics distribution as well. Undercover agents made controlled purchases of heroin, cocaine, and marijuana, many
Good
of
for
which were
them.
trafficked in large amounts.
Great.
Part of a continued work to go after the stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? When we used to hit, when the guys that I was go along with, because I was just there to do evidence gathering for them, but we as a cop, we would go and they would hit the ALE would hit these illegal outlets.
Right.
Okay, they set up a little. They go buy the liquor at the liquor store.
All I remember is
You
being
can't
in
do
the
that.
parking lot, and people yelling, "Here comes Jerry Reed," and everybody
Yeah.
scattered.
But anyway, they would do these things, and they would
Uh-huh.
sell it. Then they sell it by the shot, but they weren't paying liquor by the drink prices for it at the liquor store.
Right.
A bottle of let's just say a bottle of liquor that costs a fifth of liquor costs you $10 or something. Let's just say that if you go to the consumer side, you go to the LBD side, the liquor by the drink side of that ABC store, it may cost the outlet $20. And therefore they're paying half price for it. And therefore they don't have to charge as much to sell it to their customers, but they're not licensed. So you go in there to rate them and to do the checking on this stuff,
Right.
because they usually have a pool hall and a little dance hall going, maybe some music playing. And then you find out they're selling liquor, and then you hit them all of a sudden one night. Holy moly. Once you get all the lights turned on, there's guns and dope and everything else dropped on the floor. They don't want to be caught with it. There's more stuff dumped on the floor. And what a couple of the agents used to go with it. Anybody, does this one belong to anybody? Y'all want, who dropped this one? This is yours? Trying to give it back to them, or the dope. But they got rid of it very quickly. Nobody ever pulled a gun on them. But it's a dangerous thing to be raiding. Because
Yeah.
you just don't know what kind of idiots are inside with a gun.
Well, there was that news coming out of Onslow County this weekend. In Pender County, they have a death they're investigating.
What's that?
The one school teacher.
Oh yeah, I saw
you
that
were
one.
you were talking
Yeah,
about that the
don't
other
know what it
day.
is yet. They don't have a medical. She's 46 years old. Found her in her
Yes.
house there in Hampstead.
She was teacher at Topsail Middle School.
Yep.
And I understand she'd been out of teaching class since about August, whether
Mhm.
it was medical, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's sad story, sad story.
Let's see here. Driving. December is Impaired Driving Prevention Month here in Onslow County. During Christmas and New Year's, it's going to happen all over the state too. You can bet on that one.
Oh, sure.
There's a rise typically in drunk driving deaths, not necessarily in Onslow, but across the state. Recent data shows December drunk driving deaths are the highest in almost 15 years. Wow, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Wonder what is their
More cops are
program?
going to be on the roads. Part of the do battle with those who are driving drunk. Going to drink, you're going to a party. For God's sakes, of a designated driver who doesn't drink, preferably at all.
Absolutely, yes.
Because it's nothing like getting a DD, designated driver to go with you, and then he suddenly starts partaking, and then you're left holding the bag. Nobody to drive you home. So if you got somebody that does not consume alcohol at all, that's good. And if not, make arrangements with a ride share program. They got plenty of them around the area.
Yes.
Call them in advance. Go ahead and make a plan of what time you're going to be picked up, you and your buddies, if there's more than one of you, and just let them pick you up and take you home.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it doesn't
Get your ride there and get a ride back.
That's what your
Get it
friends
two-way
are
street.
there for.
Do not. Your best bet is not to drive your car there and then think you're going to get a ride home,
Yes.
because you're tempted at that point in time because you're stupid.
Right.
Oh, I can make it home.
I'm trying to find out what the model is for December on the program. They usually have a model.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yes.
Here, let's see what time it is.
Be
Oh yeah,
nice
here's some things that happen. Now, okay, .02, you're not going to be generally charged with driving while impaired. You can be, because some people at .02, let's just take it as even if you're legal age, 21,
Right.
you've never had a drink in your life.
All I had to
And-
do is pop the top and smell it, and I'm done.
If at age 21,
drink.
if you've never had a drink, and there are a lot of people that are like that, believe it or not, if you've never had a drink and God, I'm going to go out tonight. Let me go get a drink. I'm going to have me a drink. Well, in all likelihood, it's going to take a couple of drinks of anything significant to get to .02. But the impact on you as somebody who's never had anything to drink, and you didn't eat anything for lunch.
Right.
You didn't have
you
anything
go
to eat
down.
yet. Okay, but I'm going to get me a drink. But the impact on you and your ability to perform is greatly reduced, even though it's a .02. That does not mean you're not guilty. Driving while impaired, the .08 thing means you are presumed to be guilty. That's all it is,
Well,
of being impaired.
somebody wants to know if you've got a washing machine.
Got one, but I'm using it. I don't have a used clothes washing machine.
Well,
now.
that's
Sorry.
just like I learned in the Sheriff's Academy in that one class that we took concerning drunk driving and DWI not in testing. And they had two individuals. The male, you could look right at him and tell you knew he was impaired. The female, I swear to this day, I would have never thought she was impaired, but yet she was.
Oh.
She was, according to the test, the test, but
Yeah, well, it depends upon your abilities, your
That's
other
right.
abilities, and how long you've been sitting like I have right now,
yes, I know.
and how much you've had to eat in
Right.
advance. What kind of impact it has on you?
Well, she's a Marine,
But if
and
she
she
got to
worked
be-
out all the time.
Yeah,
She was very
probably had
physically
no body
fit.
fat or anything else either.
Yeah.
A .05, reduced coordination, reduced ability to track moving objects, difficulty steering, reduced response to emergency driving situations. You can also be charged and convicted of impaired driving at .05.
Yes.
.08, you're presumed guilty.
I learned a
And
lot
it gets really bad.
at that
Okay.
academy.
We will see you tomorrow morning. We have
There's a possibility of, we have
got
Barry Collins coming
Dr.
in.
Barry Collins, Onslow County School
Doctor,
Superintendent.
yes.
He announced last week at the school board meeting that he was retiring in
Yes.
March of next year. So we're going to be chatting with him about some of the good times. He's a great superintendent.
He's a great
For you
guy.
folks who have not had one-on-one experience with superintendents, I have.
Mhm.
No, I never got paddled by one in high school. But anyway, I've known a lot of superintendents over the years in the media and whatever. Dr. Collins is one of those
He's
good
a
ones.
fine gentleman.
Really good guy.
I was really sad to look at some of the comments that were put on the Daily News story on Dr. Collins, and some of the people commenting. Of course, it was that group that
the naysayers?
the naysayers
The
that
negative
always went
nannies?
to the meetings and disrupted it. But I will say he's a fine gentleman.
He is. So we'll have Dr. Collins in here
Yes.
tomorrow morning about 7:30, I think it is. Yes,
Mhm.
7:30. So we will see you then. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go drink some Gatorade.
Yes, you do. Me too.
You're live and local. You're Real Talk, where we're always awake and never woke. See you in the morning.